I'm going to put this in all of my videos for tomorrow, just so people can understand something. Look, I feel like there's slight miscommunication, so I want to clear things up. People seem to think when I say pump, that automatically means that we are never going to retrace again. Just to clarify, right? When I say pump, it doesn't necessarily mean, and I'm using Zbec as an example, it doesn't necessarily mean that in 8 days we're going to go up three or three and a half times, right? That doesn't mean that. A pump could be this, ladies and gentlemen. We see reversals, we expect a pump, right? We had a pump for 2 days, it went down. Boom. Again, then it's slow. Oh, it's showing pumps. Okay, it pumped. This is a pump too, right? This is a pump too. Sure, it's short lived, but this is a pump too. 21% in 2 days is a pump. Guys, 21% in 2 days is a pump. When we saw reversals here, for example, it pumped 31% in 5 days. Now, then, yes, it sold off. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is part of the market. A pump doesn't automatically mean that we are going to be going up 300% in a week. I know that's what you guys want, but if you look at the charts, that just doesn't happen. Like it just doesn't happen. And when it does, it is very short lived under certain circumstances. Okay. Just like when I say something's dumping, that doesn't mean it's going to dump forever, right? Like, oh, this is dumping over here. We dumped for a couple of days. We went down almost 22, 23%, right? So I just need to clarify this because I feel like there is miscommunication. And it's same thing with a breakout, right? It's the same thing with a breakout. So for example, if Zbec was in this kind of trend and it's looking to be breaking out, right? A breakout doesn't necessarily mean that it's just going to keep going. These guys have to realize that usually with a breakout, you have to pull back to see if we're actually holding the breakout and going further, or if it was simply a fake out. So I'm putting this in all of the next 5 videos just so people get some type of clarity. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, I am pre-recording this video just a little bit because I will be very, very busy tomorrow, but that is okay. Listen, we have an update, right, with Zebec. Our panel with Turnkey will be happening tomorrow, September 17th at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so that's very important. Listen, also, ladies and gentlemen, we have federal rate cuts happening at 2, I believe it is going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern. All right, if I go here, we can see, boom, 2 p.m. Eastern. So it is expected for there to be a rate cut. So be prepared because it's going to be very impactful. If it's not impactful right away, then it should start impacting us next week. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to dive right into the basics. We can see we are ranked 144 out of all the cryptos, 9,482. We can see that we are almost at 400 million market cap, 16 million volume. In the last month, we are down only 2%. In the last week, we're up 7.5%. And in the last day, we're up 1.2%. When we go to something like the holders, we can see, ladies and gentlemen, that we have gone up a decent amount. We actually gone up to practically over 200 holders. That is crazy. And we are currently up roughly 20 to 30. So very, very nice. That's actually a huge jump. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, there's going to be thousands and thousands of holders and bandwagoners coming to Zbec Network when we are going to start seeing consistent pumps. And of course, when we're going to be pumping for those couple of months. And of course, the altcoin season where we're going to be really, really, really pumping for those few weeks. So we're going to be seeing insane growth over the next few months. Ladies and gentlemen, the time to get serious is now. The next few months are going to be the most crucial time of your lives. Okay. We're going to have crypto exploding. And this is the time to get a portfolio review. Right? You got to make sure you have the right cryptos. You don't want any old or dead coins, or you don't want anything that can give you little profits, right? So we provide a portfolio review. We've also been smashing it with the high probability meme coins. We hit an 11x, an 8x, and 5.5x in recent times. We also provide a weekly report on the crypto data, on the crypto analysis, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, on other altcoins as well. You get all this and a bunch more other benefits. Highly recommend joining the private community. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make some money. Listen, in terms of technical analysis, right, the daily candle actually didn't close that bad. It really didn't, right? This is nothing too crazy in terms of structure. It is a little weak, I won't lie, right? We do have this high over here, and we do have a lower high, right? It doesn't look the prettiest, but I will say, as of right now, we could technically, right? We could technically just go as low as here to then attempt again. Okay, because I will say that we technically did break some type of structure. When we go and look at this, but right, we broke out of this zone. We are currently retesting off this zone, but it's just, these 4 hour candles are not the they're not the strongest, unfortunately. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, right? Just because price action is slow and weak, that doesn't mean that we won't pump. Okay, it just means it's just not as clear. Because, like I said, if we hold this and we continue to go up higher, that is a great possibility. If we were to go down, right? If we were to go down, then we should probably be going down to somewhere around these levels over here, right? These levels over here. Why? Because, well, ladies and gentlemen, it would be a reverse head and shoulders. We can see it would be a shoulder, a head, a shoulder, and it would also go into an institutional candle, and it would also be on top of a nice support, right? So we would probably pull back 7 to 10%, right? 7 to 10%. Um, but I wouldn't really expect to go further than that. I wouldn't really expect to go further than that. Now, if we look at Zbec at the higher time frame, right? Let's just say something like the daily. We can see, ladies and gentlemen, when we go and take this trend, boom, like this, we can see that we are trying to go above this trend line, right? Generally speaking, we are trying to go above this trend line, and we can see we have been going above it a little bit, but it is still fairly weak, right? We do have the Fed rates coming up, so we could see short-term sell-off manipulation to then have a strong pump for the rest of the week, or, ladies and gentlemen, we should be pumping strong next week. Either way, overall, we should be expecting pumps regardless. Like quarter 4 should be really good. Like quarter 4 should honestly be really good, despite how the rest of September might go. But we can see this is overall the picture, right? This is overall the picture, and we can actually see, generally speaking, that over the last couple of days, ever since kind of September, we kind of went from consistent selling off with short-term buying pressure to generally sideways. And you know what I say, once something goes from selling off to sideways, usually the next route and the next destination is to start going consistently up. Okay, so something like this. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited. I personally think it is a great time to be dollar cost averaging. I personally expect for Zbec to really hold this area. There's no reason for it to sell off. We see even Bitcoin has been going up and it broke out of its zone, right? So there's gonna be a little bit of a sell off, but Bitcoin is looking to reclaim a huge territory. And I believe with the help of the federal rate cuts, we should be able to achieve that. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is ultimately going to be it. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I hope that long intro in the beginning and of in this video and the other videos clear things up, because, ladies and gentlemen, you have to realize it's the same thing with so it's a little bit different concept, but it's the same thing with, like, if you think negative comments impact a crypto, then you have to think a positive comment is going to impact a crypto in a good way, where it's going to make it pump. I don't believe in that, right? I don't believe in that philosophy. But since we're talking about all this, right, you guys have to just clear some stuff up, because it is really going to mess with your psychology in the future. But yeah, that is ultimately it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy it. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.